before I solve this by completing the square, I want to think about what a perfect square is. Like if I had x plus some root and I wanted to square it. Well, when we were foiling these things out, we saw that we would square the x and get x squared. Then the outsides would give us rx and the insides would give us rx. So we'd have two of these rx's. And then our constant term would just be the r squared. And this is a good thing to remember, because what I want to do when I want to solve this equation, x squared plus 6x equals 16, is to complete the square. In order to do that, we get the constant on the other side, which it's already there, and I need to take this quadratic that's sitting on the left-hand side, and I want to add some constant to it in order to turn it into a perfect square. So thinking about what that perfect square would be is like coming over on the right side here and working backwards. I have this x squared, so my first term in my perfect square is going to be the x. In order to find out what I should add, I can look at the middle term. That's twice as big as the number that I need for r. In this case, my number is a 6, which is twice as big as I need. So the number I need is a 3. So take that 6 and divide it by 2 in order to find out what that root's going to be. In order to find out what the constant I add is, I square it and add it right there. Of course, I just added 9 to the left-hand side of my equation, and the number one rule for equations is whatever I do to the left-hand side, I also have to do to the right-hand side. So because I added 9 on the left, I have to add it on to the right, and 16 plus 9 is 25. The next thing, now I have a perfect square is equal to 25. In order to get rid of the square, I'll square root both sides. So x plus 3, because the square root and the square will cancel, will leave me with plus or minus the square root of 25, which is 5. We'll finish it up by getting x alone. I'm going to subtract 3 and then come up with my two answers, because negative 3 plus 5 is 2. And negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. And there's my two solutions. Let's do this a couple more times. With x squared minus 4x is equal to negative 3, I'm going to rewrite this quadratic, adding a constant so that it's a perfect square. We'll start off with x. Half of this negative 4 is negative 2. And then when I square negative 2, I get plus 4. Whatever I do to the left, we also have to do to the right, and negative 3 plus 4 is 1. Now we get rid of the square by square rooting. X minus 2 is equal to positive or negative 1. Add 2 to both sides, so my solution is going to be 2 plus or minus 1. So x is either 2 plus 1 or 2 minus 1. One last equation, x squared plus 10x minus 96. It's not quite in the right form yet. In order to complete the square, I need to take that 96 and add it over to the other side. That just gives me the room that I need in order to complete the square. So my perfect square is going to be x from the x squared. Half of plus 10 is plus 5, and when I square it, I get 25. So I have to add 25 to the other side. 96 and 25 make 121. Square root to get rid of the square. X plus 5 is equal to plus or minus 11. And now subtract 5 from both sides and come up with the solution. So x is negative 5 plus 11 or negative 5 minus 11. And there's the two solutions.